Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Fallen for Film podcast. I'm your host, Ryan O'Toole, and I'm very excited to be starting this podcast. This has been something I have been building up for about a year on my channel. I have always wanted to start up a podcast, and in 2020, that was one of my biggest goals, and now here we are with the very first episode of the Fallen for Film podcast. And I cannot do this podcast alone. I need a co-host. I need a pal. I need a homie, whatever you can call it. And I have a very awesome co-host here with me. That is Mr. Colin Williams. If you guys do not know who he is, he's going to tell you all about himself. Colin, introduce yourself.
What is going on, guys? Hello to all the listeners, to all the Ryan O'Toole fans, or even the Colin Williams fans, the 300 of you that checking out the podcast. So yeah, when Ryan reached out to me about starting a podcast, I was like, hell to the yes, because it sounds awesome. I know we both love talking movies. So yeah, I'm excited to get this started. If you don't know me, I do the same thing Ryan does. I review movies, do rankings, tier lists, all sorts of fun movie-related content. And I'm sure you'll get to know me as we do this each and every week. So I'm excited.
Yes, we both are very excited to start this podcast because I made this podcast all about talking about movies and adding content that I don't usually do on my channel, and this is a perfect opportunity to have that in a podcast form. So you're probably asking us, what is this podcast all about? What are we going to be talking about every time we're on here? This podcast is all about mostly movie stuff and also some streaming service stuff, because of Disney Plus and Netflix. This is mainly a podcast all about the world of movies and entertainment and pop culture or whatever. It's mostly going to be all about movies. And Colin and I, we're going to bring you guys our thoughts and opinions on the recent, biggest, newest trends in movie news and also trailers that drop. We'll give you guys our reactions to the trailers, not an actual trailer reaction, but our thoughts on those trailers. We'll give you guys box office rundowns. What was the highest grossing film of whatever week? And also, we'll be throwing in our own personal top 5 or top 10 lists for the week. And also, we have a thing we're going to do every podcast episode is give you guys our most underrated and overrated movies of the week and tons of other stuff. And also, we'll be having on guests from time to time throughout the show, and we are super excited to get started on that very soon. So, also, there's also different platforms for podcasting, and you're probably wondering, where is this podcast going to be other than YouTube? Well, YouTube is obviously one of the places. There's also other podcast platforms that we're going to be putting the podcast on, potentially like Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud. There's so many out there. But as of right now, it is on YouTube and hopefully Spotify with what's going on in the world right now, hopefully sooner rather than later. So, Colin, do you have anything else you wanted to add before we get started?
No, I mean, we can just jump right into it. I mean, we got a lot of topics to get into. So I'm excited to get right into it because the world is like set on fire right now, and movie news is a victim of that, or just movies have been a victim of that. Us movie fans we're going through a little bit of the Great Depression of movie fans right now with everything being canceled. And I believe that's our first topic. So we can probably, oh wait, actually no, it's not. We got one other thing, but still. We can jump right into it.
Awesome. And yes, he is absolutely right, guys. The world is on fire right now. What's going on in the world? So I figure let's just start with the first newest movie news that just dropped a couple of days ago, and that is Wonder Woman 1984, one of the most highly anticipated films of the year, is in heavy discussions right now from Warner Brothers. They're debating on whether waiting and holding out on this movie, releasing it in theaters for the whole world to see, or they're possibly moving it to streaming service of their choosing. And there are many mixed divisive reactions on this. A lot of people are furious over this. A lot of people are fine with it. So we'll give you guys our stance on it. Colin, where is your stance on this?
I don't think it's going to happen, first of all. I just think the traditional way you see movies just in the theater is just with Warner Brothers, such a big company. They're expecting to make. I mean, I think the first film made like $700 million or something along that lines. This one can even make more than that as a contender for sure. The like the $1 billion club. With how the DC movies are trending, kind of in the right direction. I think people have like more positive opinions on them now with recent successes of like Shazam and Joker and stuff like that. Even though it's not really in the DCEU, but still, it had a chance to make a lot of money. And there's just not a lot of money in streaming. One, if it's just on like Netflix or their, let's say, like HBO Max or something like that when it eventually comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like a thing where it's like rent on VOD, it's like, oh, $20 to do that. Well, we could solve that issue right away. I could say, hey, my buddy's over here. Let's all throw $3 and we'll all go watch, Wonder Woman 1984. And that sounds like kind of like a fun idea where, you can watch it from the comfort of your own living room. But I think certain films and a lot of films need to be experienced on the big screen. That's what they're for. Some people don't care about that as much nowadays, though. Us movie fans probably do, but the average, like someone like my mom, my dad, they don't care about the movie experience. They like the comfort of watching. That's why they usually wait to watch it on Netflix. That's why a lot of people are staying home to wait till it goes on streaming or something like that. They can run it on Redbox, and so I don't like the idea. I don't think it's going to happen. I would much rather see it on the big screen. So that's kind of my take on it. So basically how I feel about it.
Yeah, and there are different movie audiences out there. I definitely agree with that. Like my parents as well, they like movies, but they're not like me who goes to the movie theaters every week and reviews them. So they could possibly be like, okay, all right, my mom would be like, I can wait for it. Or my dad would be like, I want to see it on the biggest screen possible. My brother as well, since he loved the first Wonder Woman. And I am on the same ballpark as you. I mean, I tweeted my thoughts on this news and I hated it. It sounded
Yeah, I
like an
saw.
awful idea. This is Wonder Woman 1984 we're talking about here. Like, this movie's definitely going to make $1 billion. Everyone loved the first Wonder Woman movie. Mostly people did. Some people didn't. But yeah, they're going to lose so much money if they do this option. And I go see movies like this on the biggest IMAX screen possible because that's the best experience for sure. And it doesn't make any sense. Like, many movies are getting delayed, and it's just the smarter move to wait on this and have everybody see it on the biggest screen possible. That's how we can support the big studios like this to make more movies like this. And if you just release it to like HBO Max, like you brought up, which is coming out soon, like, it's not going to have that same effect as if it was playing in a theater. Now, there's many people saying if they do go the streaming service route, they're definitely going to release it in theaters whenever those theaters do open back up. But is it going to matter like a few months from now if they release it on streaming soon? I don't think it's going to matter.
Well, the one thing we haven't even mentioned too is Wonder Woman 84 looks freaking awesome. Looks
Mhm.
epic. And people want to see epic movies in the theater. I mean, I'm trying to think of like movies like that have that epic scale to it. They're like, are they supposed to be on streaming? Like, the only thing I can think of recently is that one Michael Bay movie that went straight to Netflix. That was like kind of an action movie. But like I forget what it was called. It had like Ryan Reynolds. I never saw it. Look,
Six Underground.
yeah, yes. 600, some stupid movie. I didn't see it. I watched like the first like 10 minutes and I was like already like, oh my God, too much Michael Bay. But uh, those are like big, blockbuster action movies. But like what we see, like when we think of like streaming services and like direct to streaming service like movies, like we see on Netflix, usually I'm expecting maybe like a rom-com or kind of like a cute, sweet little movie where because it's on a streaming service, my expectations are actually lower. So like it's a chance for like a good surprise, some like oh, that was cute. Like a good thing that comes to mind is like P.S. I Still Love You or To All the Boys I Loved Before. But a movie like Wonder Woman 84, like no, I just don't want like Wonder Woman 1984 looks like complete. It looks better than the first one to me. I like the like vibes. It kind of is giving me like Thor Ragnarok type vibes to
Yeah.
it. I
Stranger
love
Things,
Patty
yeah.
Jenkins. Yeah, Stranger Things. It's definitely giving me that type of vibe. Gal Gadot. I mean, dude, who does not have a crush on that girl? It just looks so good, and if it wasn't in theaters, it would just kind of. I mean, like going to the movie theaters is something you get like pumped up for. You know, you're like all day you're at work or you're at school or whatever you're doing. You got your like shirt for that movie or the superhero, you know, whatever, wearing the logo and stuff, getting all pumped up, and you're like super excited. You got your tickets already purchased. You got the seats and everything, and then like it just completely devalues the whole experience of like, oh, like yeah, when I get home, I'm just gonna sit on my couch and turn it on, and I don't know. It's just weird. Maybe it's what things are changing, so we have to get used to it. I mean, there's certain movies like that they've announced that are going straight to VOD that I'm like, oh, that sounds like I might watch that now, like Bloodshot or whatever. I had no interest in seeing Bloodshot, but you hated that movie, so maybe I shouldn't even pay $19 for it. But anyway, that's kind of I just Wonder Woman is such a like looks awesome. It looks awesome. I want to see it in the theaters.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, man. Many people, I posted that on Twitter, and somebody was like, "Well, I'm fine with it. Wouldn't you want to see this movie like ASAP?" Like, no, I want to see this on a big screen. Like, this was made for the big screen, and I want to support those movies like in that way. And this is one of those movies. Like, and I agree. Wonder Woman 84 looks really good. Like, I think it could be better than the first one. We'll see. And it's just one of those films that people are so amped up about, so excited about. Like, we should support movies in the theaters like this. But, you know, movies like Bloodshot, Birds of Prey, like, I'm fine with these movies going to streaming. New Mutants as well, I'm fine with going to streaming. But Wonder Woman, Black Widow, Mulan, like, they're going to lose so much money doing those. Like, we need to experience those films on a big screen. So, yeah, that's
Yeah,
Colin and I's
100%.
thoughts. Sorry, did you wanted to add another thing?
No, I was just saying I 100% agree. So we can move on to the next thing on the docket.
Yeah, all right. So that is our thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984. What do you guys think? Please let us know in the comments on YouTube or whatever. Tell us your thoughts on this Wonder Woman 1984 news. Should it be released on streaming services as soon as possible, or do you want to wait for that theatrical experience? We want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. So now, Colin, let's go to our next main topic. And our next main topic is let's just give our thoughts overall on all of the main blockbuster movies that have been delayed so far. There's so many to name off, like Black Widow, Mulan, A Quiet Place 2, Fast and Furious 9 got delayed till next April next year. Like, so many movies, Colin. Like, give me your thoughts overall on all these movies and which ones really kind of disappoint you overall.
Okay, so the one that was the big, you kind of knew it was coming because it was like the coronavirus stuff had just kind of really hit, like kind of like resonate with people. Like this could be really serious. It's Quiet Place 2. I had it as my number two most anticipated movie of the year behind Tenet. Just really, first one's such a fantastic film. Got completely robbed from like all the Oscars it didn't get nominated for. Then 2018 when it came out, and you know John why am I John Krasinski? I almost said John Travolta. John Krasinski. What he did with the first film, so good. And then it was funny when he announced the film when he that was being canceled. He wrote like JK at the end, so people were thinking it was just kidding. That's his initials. So that one really bummed me out. The one that kind of like it's not really bumming me out, but it's kind of like pissing me off is like Fast and Furious 9 getting delayed a year. Like just like post like that sounds like very I don't know, premature, I guess. Like it's kind of just like, well, let's wait. Like if you notice a lot of the Disney films, Black Widow that's being delayed, Mulan being delayed, it's a lot of like, let's wait and see. So we're not going to give a date right away. We're not going to commit to something. Fast and Furious 9, I think Universal like put themselves in a position to where, well, let's just say the coronavirus ends tomorrow, and then all of a sudden, Fast and Furious 9 like has to maybe move up again, and they just got create some confusion. They should have just postponed it. And then I guess No Time to Die bummed me out as well. So just all these films, like they just movies not being in the theater kind of sucked. The whole month of March kind of seemed like a month where we were kind of be like it was good for business, because there was like a lot of movies that were coming out, like high profile movies, and now I'm reviewing old movies on my channel because there's nothing coming out. So it was just like the whole thing. I think as one conglomerate just kind of sucks.
Yes, absolutely, man. Quiet Place 2, like that was the one I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, and also Ace Comic Con was coming up. All my buddies from YouTube, like Larry from LC Screen Talk, Tyler Calvert, Alyssa from Mainly Movies, Dwayne Miller from Cinemania War, like all my buddies, we were gonna meet up in Boston, during Ace Comic Con. We were
Uh,
all gonna go see A Quiet Place 2 together. And then I was at work, and then I came home from work and said Quiet Place 2 was delayed. And I'm like,
okay.
oh my goodness. And we just decided to cancel the trip altogether because the madness was starting, and it's just really disappointing. Quiet Place 2, that's my third most anticipated film of the year, behind Tenet and Dune. Like, I love the first Quiet Place film. That was one of my favorite
Amazing.
films. It was so great. John Krasinski nailed it. And then just hearing the news, it's delayed. It bums you out, but it's understandable. They want to be safe so that everybody can see it together and make as much money as possible because it deserves it. And then a No Time to Die was the first one to start it off, and that's understandable because they make their money more overseas. But it's like that's Bond. Like we want to see that movie as soon as possible. And then Black Widow, totally predictable. Mulan, like it's kind of bumming, but it's understandable at the same time. Fast and Furious 9, I'm really not excited for that movie at all. Like, it looks
Come on. Come
ridiculous.
on.
It looks.
Come on. Han is back. Come on.
I was like, oh, what is
Come
going on
on.
here? John Cena,
Boo.
Tom's brother. I'm like, oh my God. And
Dude,
it's
that
kind of
dude.
it's kind of understandable why they're moving it to next year, because look at next year, dude. There's so many. It's going to be a big year for blockbusters next year, but like it's understandable why they're pushing all these movies back. But if some of them go to streaming, like some of them doesn't make sense to me. But Lovebirds, we'll talk about that soon in another topic. But most of these movies, I'm really bummed out about, and I can wait, but it had to come now.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's I don't. We don't want to. I know I'm gonna speak for both of us here because I know we both feel this way. Like we don't want to make it feel like. I mean, there's much bigger issues going on in the world today. We don't be like, oh, our precious movies are being pushed back. We like completely understand why they're being pushed back. It's just we do this for fun, so it kind of sucks. But also, I mean, we're not thinking about all the jobs that are being hurt, like just like the lower end jobs, like the assistants for these like production companies and stuff like that. Um, People that like maybe just like the like lower tier actors that are getting kind of like their first. Now it's getting pushed back. They're kind of maybe getting a good payday and stuff like that. I mean, I know we like kind of hate on these big corporations sometimes. Disney lost like $85 billion in 3 weeks because of all this stuff and their stocks dropping. They can afford it, but I mean that still sucks. It's not good for the economy. I mean, I'm not going to get political here, but it just the whole thing is just it stinks. I think that's just the thing. It's like we don't really have two articulate feelings about it. It's just like it sucks. That's about it.
It does suck. Yes, it does. And yeah, like you said, Disney with some of the things that's coming out with them right now, which we'll talk about in another topic, it sucks for them that they're, having to spend this money, to push back these releases as well as potentially streaming for Disney Plus it and holding off production for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like it does stink. Like all these
That
movies
bums
are
me out.
stopping casting and stopping filming because of the coronavirus. And it really does stink. It really does. And yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yes, guys, let us know what you think overall about these movies being delayed. Which one is bumming you out the most? When do you think these movies are going to come out potentially because of the delay? We want to hear what you guys have to say about it. So, Colin, I figure we just go right to the next topic we're going to talk about here. And let's talk about Disney Plus. And the news that just dropped this week is that Onward, the newest Pixar movie, is going to be coming to Disney Plus on April 3rd, and it's already streaming digitally right now. So, Colin, I know you saw Onward and already have your review out. But tell us your thoughts on the film and the thoughts of it going on Disney Plus.
I really enjoyed Onward. And the more I think about it, it's just a hoot of a movie. Like Pixar comes out with these films, and they usually kind of hit you at the core. I think Onward did what Pixar movies do. They're solid, they're entertaining and stuff like that. So with that, I'm excited that's actually going to be available to watch sooner rather than later. Um, so I'm not gonna buy it right now. I'm not sure if you can buy it or rent it. I'm not sure what the. I think I looked on my iTunes account and it said you could buy it for 19.99, not just rent it. Or some of these are renting it. But anyway, I think it's probably because it's coming out for kind of free on digital soon, so they figured you could just buy it now. But anyway, pumped. Once it comes on Disney Plus in like a month or so, or not even like less than a month.
Mhm.
I'll definitely check it out again. I've only seen it once, and I really enjoyed it then. I've yet to see it again because even if I wanted to, the theaters are all closed. So yeah, that's pretty. I don't have too crazy of a take on it. I enjoyed the film. Not really surprised. When you think about it, it's one of those things where it's like oh, duh, they would have done that, but it kind of wasn't in the back of your mind, like oh, they were going to do that. And then it kind of came as a surprise initially when you first saw it, like, oh crap, like, yeah, but duh, they're gonna do that. But it was kind of like I wasn't expecting it at the same time. It's one of those weird things, but yeah, it's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, so Onward, I really love the film as well. Saw it with my brother Cody at the early screenings, and I thought it was great. It related to me and Cody as brothers, these two brothers. And a great fairy tale of bringing their father back for just one day. And and I'm fine with it going to Disney Plus, so if people didn't get to see it in theaters, they can see it sooner rather than later. And Pixar, unfortunately, is going to lose some money on this in that it didn't make as much in the box office, which is kind of a bummer because I think it's a great movie. Just unfortunately, the stuff that's going on makes it understandable why it didn't make as much money in the box office. But there's other great movies as well coming to streaming services right now. So it just makes sense to push it to Disney Plus. So that way the whole family can be locked together, quarantined, to sit in the house, watch Onward together, because it's a great family film with great messages for kids to enjoy.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned. I forgot to mention that too. My brother and I are 18 months apart. I think 18 months apart. So hit right in all the feels. Onward. I don't think they had too many films like that where it's like there's a lot of duos, not like a brother kind of vibe at all.
Yeah.
So that was like I really enjoyed that aspect of the film. That's what definitely hit the most. My brother is not a one. He doesn't go to the movies very often, but if that once that comes out on Disney Plus, he does like Pixar movies. He will watch them. He's always like I always walk in his room and he's watching like Up or something like that. But he just doesn't go out to see them in theaters. Again, like we were talking about with people wanting to stay home to watch these movies. So once that comes out, I'll definitely watch it with him for sure. But yeah, it's a movie that I think will benefit coming to Disney Plus early while people are quarantined. I think it's a film that kind of people need right now, a good family film.
Exactly. I definitely agree with you on that. And your brother is just like my brother, Cody, who loves Pixar and watching movies with me, Pixar movies. And it's the perfect movie to watch with the family at home while you're quarantined. So if you guys have not seen Onward, definitely watch it. It's a really relatable film if you have a brother or a sister. And just it's really great. It's really great. So now let's go to the next topic here to talk about. It's a Netflix topic, and Lovebirds, the upcoming film with Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae, is that her name? Yeah. That movie is moving to Netflix. Netflix purchased it to come out soon. Don't know the release date, but Lovebirds is coming to Netflix. So, Colin, do you know anything about Lovebirds, and what's your thoughts on it going to Netflix? Hello? Colin?
Okay, I gotcha. All
Oh.
right, I lost you there for a second. Yeah, as far as Lovebirds, actually, congratulations, Ryan. You broke the news to me when you sent me the outline for our podcast. I found out just then. There, I mean, I was watching movies all day yesterday. Me and my girlfriend, we locked our phones up. We watched three movies. I'm sure we'll talk about because it's in a top 10 list that we talk about later on. But we watched three movies yesterday, so I was not close to the. I'm not sure when the news broke, but I remember thinking the trailer like pretty funny. It's funny. The Camille Nanjiani is like one of those actors. Like I'm not sure where the hell he came from. Like he just like popped out of nowhere. And he's just in movies now, and
Did you
he's
see The
like
Big
really
Sick?
funny. Yeah, I saw The Big Sick. and
Yeah.
that was kind of like that first thing. It's just like I don't know what he was before. I think he might have been a comedian. I think. That's like I mean that's what he was in the movie. So I have no idea, but he's just so charming. He's just got like such like a unique like I love like his face. Like he's just so like looks like a lovable like dad kind of figure to him. You like want to be best friends with him. So I love everything he's been. Of course, he's going to be coming up in the new Eternals film, which God knows when that comes out because of the delays and stuff. So the movie just looked like kind of like a good like date night movie. Like I think that's kind of the vibe it was going for. So actually, I don't know what your opinion on this. I don't think this is a bad thing for I think it might benefit. It might get some more viewers, older viewers who don't go to the movies as much, like someone like my mom and my dad or whoever that will watch this film on Netflix, and it might actually go to like a wider audience. I'm not sure when exactly it was opening, but if it was March or April, I can't remember when. But
This week.
this week, okay. So wasn't Mulan? Is the Mulan was dropping the same week or something like that, or
Mulan is next week, the 27th.
okay, Mulan. Okay, yeah, Milan's next week. So as you can see, it was a crazy month with Quiet Place and stuff like that. Obviously, those films aren't coming out anymore, but initially, Lovebirds was not going to do all that well financially because of all the other bigger movies that were coming out anyway. More like franchise, like big movies. Quiet Place is obviously a sequel, and then that movie made like $400 million, something like that. The first one, Mulan. We all know how the Disney live action remakes are just printing money at this point. So I think I think this is actually a win. I think going to Netflix is something that will just appeal to a larger audience. And I mean, I can't imagine this movie costs a lot to make anyway. And then Netflix bought it too, so they probably at least broke even on the. They're not going to sell it for less. They might have because it's kind of hard times out in these streets and these movie streets. So yeah, that's kind of. I think I actually view it as a positive. I'm excited to watch it now because now we can see it.
Yes, I agree. Kumail Nanjiani, loved him ever since The Big Sick and all these movies he's been popping up in, like Stuber. I think that's an underrated comedy with Batista. Um, and he's just really great. Issa Rae, saw her recently in The Photograph. She was all right in there. And they both seem like a great duo together. And that film was a film as well that only saw one trailer. I see it at every movie screening I go to. So I've seen the trailer many times, but still, Netflix definitely purchasing this film is really good. It's not a big blockbuster, and for people that were highly interested in seeing this film and reviewing it, it's great for that. And great that Netflix took the chance and purchased this movie for us all to see and watch, as there could be possibly other ones it could snag up or other streaming services as well.
Yeah. I think it'll be fine. I'm actually. It's so funny. Like I would have saw it in theaters. Don't get me wrong. I would have saw it in theaters because I go to the movies basically every weekend. But I'm honestly kind of more pumped that it's on Netflix now. I feel like it's got that vibe. Like you can go out, get some snacks, chill on the couch with your significant other and watch this film. I actually am kind of more excited now that it's on Netflix. It sounds weird, unpopular opinion. I know I was just over like we need the movie theater experience, blah blah blah. But now I'm kind of being hypocritical over here, but whatever. I'm actually kind of more pumped for the movie now it's on Netflix. Like I said, I think it's more interesting as a Netflix film, whereas like Wonder Woman 84, it's like it's a big blockbuster movie. This is more kind of like a rom action comedy kind of thing with like a cool premise. Feels very Netflixy, so it kind of makes sense actually.
Yeah, it does feel like Stuber in those ways, those nice action comedy vibes to it. Not going for the big blockbuster stuff, but it's just fine to watch a movie like this with your girlfriend or your family or brother and just have a fun time with it.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
totally fine with this news. Of course, guys, let us know what you guys think of Netflix purchasing Lovebirds. Were you anticipating that movie? Were you going to go see it in the theaters regardless? And tell us your thoughts on that stuff when this episode does drop. All right, so now let's go to a big news topic that just dropped yesterday. And we have Disney Plus, Colin, and we all love The Mandalorian. And the
Oh
news
yeah.
just came out. Rosario Dawson has been cast as Ashoka in Mandalorian Season 2. Big news that just dropped. Colin, tell us your thoughts overall on Rosario Dawson cast as Ahsoka in The Mandalorian Season 2.
All right. Just be very honest. I don't watch the Clone Wars. I don't watch it.
I
I
haven't seen the Clone Wars either.
I know very little about how do you say her name? Osaka? Osaka character. I don't know. The only thing I know about her is when John Campea went on a rant or whatever. I'm sure you saw it. Everyone was hating on him because he was saying that it was Dave Filoni's wet dream or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to curse. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what this podcast is rated. We PG-13. What are we?
Yeah.
But anyway, PG-13. I think they allowed. Yeah. Censor that. Anyway, so as far as the look of her, I think it's fine. I'm one of those people that's I think she seems like a talented actress. I've seen her. She's one of those actresses where I've seen her in a good amount of stuff, but I think she's kind of waiting on the for that breakout role, you know. What was she in recently? I think Zombieland 2, Double Tap. She was pretty good in the film. She had some good comedic moments. Nice presence to her. She's got I think she's got that look of a Jedi, especially with that. There's going to be some CGI on her character because she's kind of like an alien-like creature. Sorry, I don't know the name of her species in Star Wars lore. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I can't get into all that quite yet. I'll do my homework as people hate me in the comments. But
yeah, hate us.
Yeah. How dare you not read 1,000
years before?
Yeah. How dare you? It's you don't know
yourself, Star Wars fans.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Sorry. Anyway, but she seems like this could be a role for her to, put herself really, really into the spot. I mean, The Mandalorian. Everyone watched The Mandalorian. I work at a middle school, and all the kids were talking about Mr. Williams. The next day, The Mandalorian, you see the new episode? I'm like, man, of course I saw the new episode. Get out of here.
That's a lot to watch that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're middle school. I mean, it was I think so. I think they should be able to watch. But anyway, not a huge take on it. I'm kind of rambling now, but I'm sure you probably know more than I do. I don't know if you watch the Clone Wars or not. I don't. I've seen some episodes. I'm just not a big I don't know. I don't watch any the animated, even Marvel stuff, DC stuff. Not that I don't like animated stuff at all. I mean, there's so much crap to watch on TV now. It's literally impossible to watch everything. So I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, I also haven't watched the Clone Wars yet at all, or Rebels. I get many comments. Ryan, what are your thoughts on the newest Clone Wars season or newest episode? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Clone Wars yet, but the only character I really know on there, of course, is Ahsoka and Anakin and all of them. And Rosario Dawson looks like she'll be a really cool addition as Ahsoka, since that character is really popular from the books as well as the Clone Wars TV show. And I'm right there with you. The Mandalorian Season 1 was fantastic. I love that show. I cannot wait for Season 2 and what Jon Favreau has in store for us. And Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. Cannot wait for more Baby Yoda. And it's just...
Who's playing? Wait, Baby Yoda? Who doesn't love Baby Yoda?
I need a Baby Yoda shirt or
dude, I think everyone watched the show. I think all the guys all the Star Wars fans were watching The Mandalorian, and then all their girlfriends started watching once they saw the Baby Yoda movie.
Baby Yoda, yeah, we all saw the memes and all that. So, yes, Mandalorian is a sensation right now, a big hit for Disney Plus, and the casting of Rosario Dawson, I always really liked her as an actress. I think she's really underrated. If you saw Point Break, Death Proof. Have you seen Death Proof?
Death Proof, yes. That's where. Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for bringing. I was she's in other stuff, and that's my least favorite Quentin Tarantino movie.
But it's so good.
It's still a good experience. But she is. I think she's there's two groups of girls in the film. I think she's the second half of girls that he's trying to mess with in Kurt Russell's character. She's a total badass in the movie, is what I'm trying to say. She's good. She's good in the film. So
Yeah, and she was in Zombieland Double Tap too. And yeah, she's a really great underrated actress. Can't wait to see what she does as Ahsoka, as the fans really love that character. To see it brought into The Mandalorian, because there has been speculation of that character being brought back in Mandalorian. I was kind of hoping for Boba Fett, but we shall see. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's our thoughts overall on the character of Rosario of Ahsoka. Let us know what you guys think of the character, how stupid we are. We haven't seen Clone
Yeah.
Wars yet. Please tell us your thoughts.
We're uncultured, as they like to say. We're uncultured.
Uncultured. We're all excited for Mandalorian season 2. Let us know your thoughts on this news. All right, let's go to our next topic. And this topic is old news, but we wanted to just talk about something. And that Steven Spielberg is stepping down as director of Indiana Jones 5. And there are rumors that James Mangold is going to be the one to step in his place as the director. We all know James Mangold directed Logan, Ford versus Ferrari.
Really?
Wow, I did
Who?
not know that.
No
This
way. James Mangold.
this unknown name is stepping in the
Yeah,
director.
this no name, some rando.
This guy, this person. Colin, tell us your thoughts overall on this news.
Well, since I don't know who he is, I have no take. No, I'm just kidding. I love James Mangold. I haven't seen all his films. I need to like catch up on it. But what he did with Logan, one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. Ford v Ferrari, I think was like my number 10 favorite, number 9 or something like that. My favorite films of 2019. Just like directed the absolute crap out of the movie. The editing was fantastic. I know that wasn't technically he didn't edit the film, but just that the whole how he shoots everything and how he
Yeah.
directs action sequences and how he takes just like it seems like he nails every tone. And the vibe of Logan is completely different than Ford v Ferrari as well as some of the other films. Even Wolverine, the vibe was completely different as well. So I know he can capture that Spielberg-esque magic that Spielberg did with Indiana Jones movies. I'm sure people are bummed about it. It's like, oh, it's not Indiana Jones without Spielberg. But I mean, if Spielberg doesn't want to do it, what does that tell you? I mean, I don't know if that means the script is garbage or if there's production woes or if he wants to see like a fresh face with the franchise or if he just kind of feels like he'll kind of phone it in this time. I mean, Spielberg did a lot of good movies, but there has been, I mean, Indiana Jones 4 was a good example. It seems like he was kind of on autopilot a little bit. So I think that might be so maybe a case where he's kind of just trying to give fans the best film that we could possibly get, and a fresh face coming in, super energetic, want to do a big franchise movie like this. James Mangold is kind of like one of those answers where it's kind of like, duh. Like it's kind of like with Taika Waititi was approached to direct the Star Wars movie. It's like, okay, he's made good, like kind of not independent films, but like original work, stuff like that, high concept, cool idea type films, and now he's going to do a big blockbuster film. Of course, he already did with Thor Ragnarok. James Mangold, kind of same thing. He's done the independent stuff, did a big blockbuster with Logan. Now let's give him Indiana Jones 5 and let him work his magic. So I'm okay with it. And I love James Mangold, even though I found out who he was like 2 minutes ago.
Yes, I did not know this man as well. He just came out of nowhere. Anyway, this news, Indiana Jones 5, Spielberg, I think it's time for him to hang the lasso to someone else to do it. And James Mangold, I totally agree. What he did with Logan, that is seriously next to I think that's easily, the best comic book movie of the last decade. Logan is a masterpiece. That movie's so good. And of course, with Ford versus Ferrari, that was my 5th favorite film last year. I love that movie to death. The more I think about it and rewatch it. And 310 to Yuma as well. Such a really great underrated Western. Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix, Johnny Cash. Like, James Mangold is one of those directors, if you give him a genre film, he's going to direct one of the best films in that genre, as he did with Logan in Ford versus Ferrari and 310 to Yuma. And if you think of Indiana Jones, it's an adventure movie, an action film, and kind of a Western in different ways. And James Mangold can do all those things. And many people say Spielberg should be the only one to direct Indiana Jones. And I'm like,
Says who?
Kingdom of the
What's up with these rules?
Yeah, who comes up with these rules? Spielberg did Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which wasn't the best movie, but he did the first three. And
Those are good.
Picture what James Mangold could do with Indiana Jones 5. Like, take the character in a new direction that we've never seen before. Look what he did with Logan. Like, completely wiped out the other X-Men movies and made it its own movie. And he could do that same Logan effect to Indiana Jones. Take Indiana Jones in a grittier, older way. Harrison Ford's like pushing the 80s. Like, he could do that with Indiana Jones, and it could be one of the best films. I think it's coming out next year. I don't know if it's going to get delayed again. We shall see.
Is it though? Is it going to come out?
2021 is going to be stacked. Yeah, my goodness. I could not be more pumped with this news, dude. James Mangold, he's one of my favorite directors working today, as he keeps proving. Man, this is just exciting news.
Well, and I love that you brought up the fact that what he did with Logan, the old man stuff. Like, yes. Logan was older in that film. Harrison Ford isn't getting any younger, as we know. So he can completely kind of nail that vibe of kind of. I'd almost love him to see to direct like an old man Batman film after what he did with Logan, kind of like a grizzled old man, kind of like retired, getting out of retirement or about to be retired or something like that. That'd be kind of fun. But aside that, I think maybe that might be his niche, is like doing kind of washed up heroes, kind of having to do one last mission. I think that might be James Mangold's underlying like kind of thing that he's really good at it. So,
you know what Sean Chandler brings up, and I totally agree. He's the man to do amazing dad movies. Like Ford versus Ferrari was a dad movie. Yeah. Logan was a dad movie. Like, he could do that with Indiana Jones.
Johnny Cash. Movie. I mean, yeah.
He knows how to do that genre, really.
You know, he should direct. You know what he should direct is a Home Depot commercial. That's what I think he should do. And that's a dad movie.
Yes.
He'd full on like that'd be like the best damn commercial we've ever seen for dads. But anyway, that's our take on it. So
yes, that's our take, guys, on James Mangold stepping in the director's chair for Indiana Jones 5. Let us know what you guys think of James Mangold stepping in as director. Are you very excited about it? Not excited about it? Indiana Jones 5, are you excited for that movie? Let us know down below in the comments. Okay, Colin, let's go to our next topic. And it's a segment we're going to do every single podcast where Colin and I are going to give you our picks for an underrated and overrated movie pick of the week. So, Colin, I'm going to kick it off with you. What are your picks?
All right, well, I'll start off with my underrated. This one I rewatched. Yeah, we'll do that. And then we'll go back and forth. But so my underrated pick is a movie I watch almost yearly, maybe a couple times a year. I just picked it up on Blu-ray because I'm starting to collect Blu-rays again. Spoiler alert.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. I've been doing Blu-ray hauls and stuff. It's been a lot of fun, you know? And I picked it up on Blu-ray, and I think it's got an underrated actor in it. It's not really an actor, but he kind of is. And that movie, it's like an action thriller, and it's In Time with Justin Timberlake. Such an underrated film. Everyone hates on it. I look on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like in like the 30s or something like that. It's got a rotten score for the audience score. Audiences don't really love it. But I don't understand why. Every time I watch it, I like something. Just the premise maybe is a little too awesome for me to not even critique some of the flaws it probably does have. But I think it's just such a cool concept. Someone is like time is currency, and this man is kind of trying to break the system. Just really cool stuff. I don't know. I just really enjoy the film. So that's my underrated.
All right. That's a great pick because I haven't seen that movie. So I'll probably check it out on your recommendation. So my pick for an underrated movie of the week is actually a new release that did get released like Christmas time that I think more people should go see. That is Spies in Disguise. Have you seen it?
I have not. I missed it. I missed it in theaters.
Yeah, this is a really underrated film, I think. I think Spies of Disguise was such a surprise, and this is from Blue Sky Animation Studio. They did the Ice Age movies, Chicken Run, and this movie, I had no anticipation for it, and it just seemed like a typical, Incredibles meets James Bond, Men in Black movie with Will Smith and Tom Holland in it, and I think it's such a fun family film. I really enjoyed that film. Thought it was really cute and fun. Ben Mendelsohn voices the villain, and Ben Mendelsohn's like a villain in everything now. And so it's just
Oh
a
yeah.
fun movie. It's just a fun movie all around. I really like the jokes in it, the action. Feels like Men in Black meets The Incredibles. And Will Smith and Tom Holland are perfect together in that movie. They're so great as a duo. And I just think the movie was solid. I really hope there's a sequel to it. And depending on box office, if they do a sequel, I'll be really looking forward to it because I really enjoyed it. So definitely check out Spies in Disguise.
Well, yeah, and it's one of those movies where it's like we have Will Smith and Tom Holland together. I mean,
Yeah,
how much are we going to have that? And it's kind of like a thing where like I don't know if enough people knew that because it's animated film, so it's like unless you're like really good at like noticing people's voices and stuff like that. But like the average moviegoer might not have known that if you would have told, I don't know. I think maybe I don't know how well it did financially, but I don't think it did great. I don't know if it did bad either. But yeah, it's one of those movies where I'll definitely check out when it probably hits streaming. Maybe pick it up on Blu-ray. I think it came out recently, didn't it?
it did. Yeah, I just
Blu-ray.
bought it on Blu-ray.
Okay, so yeah, I'll definitely check it out. So, as for my overrated, I guess we're gonna jump right into the overrated now. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's my overrated film, and everyone loves it. If you guys, I don't know if you're familiar with Jaren Talks Movies. He has a YouTube channel, does the
Great
same
channel.
stuff that we do. Yeah, he's a great kid. I think he's like younger. He's like probably like 16 or 17 years old, and he's like got such good film knowledge, better than a lot of
Yes,
people
of
out
course.
there. Great film knowledge, and we did a top 10 Jim Carrey ranking together. And I had prepared. There was first of all, I was like shocked at like Jim Carrey's filmography and how many movies I actually like thought were like all right. I'm not a big Ace Ventura fan. I'm like I just it's kind of so part of its time, and it's just not really a film for me. I don't think, and a lot of the movies on his list, I was kind of just like, oh my god. So I thought Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind would be a contender for it, so I watched it because there was a lot of movies on there. I was like, I mean, this would be in my top five, but like by like default. So I was like, okay, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is rave reviews. Everyone loves it. Watch it, and I was like, it was one of those rare occasions where I think I should have watched a trailer first. I don't do that often. I like to go in knowing as little as possible. But I
Mhm.
was just like expecting like a cute, like I was kind of expecting a movie that I'll talk about later on, and I'll when we get to that point, I'll bring that movie up. But I was kind of expecting like not a traditional rom com, but like maybe like one of the flagship ones. And then I see like he's getting his memory erased and their building falling down. I was just like, what is happening? And I was like, and so I wasn't expecting when the movie kicks into gear, it just jumps out of nowhere, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm so lost right now. So I feel kind of dumb putting this here, but even if I wasn't lost, I don't think it's all that great. I mean, I would on a filmmaking perspective, I think it's like top tier, like 4 out of 5 stars for sure. But I just think the story didn't grab me as much as I wanted it to. The acting was good, of course, but to me, everyone says Jim Carrey's best film. To me, it's still The Truman Show. Love that movie, but really disappointed with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So that's my overrated pick.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Eternal Sunshine. I don't think I've seen that film. Yeah, I need to watch that.
Yeah, watch it. Tell me what you think. You might like it more. I mean, I
I
look on
heard.
Letterboxd. It's got like a 4.2 rating, like out of 5 stars. Like it's got like 90% Rotten Tomatoes. So it's like a fairly beloved film.
Yes, yeah, I need to check that out at some point. So my overrated movie pick of the week is a very iconic one because I get so much crap from people. My overrated pick of the week is Birdman.
Ooh,
Yes,
ooh.
I am famous in my group of friends for calling Birdman the most overrated film of last decade. I have many reasons why I think it is the most overrated film of the last decade. And this film won Best Picture in 2014
Yep.
over my favorite film, Whiplash. And I've actually been on Adam from Almost Sideways channel. He had me on his segment of overrated movies versus people who love the film or hate it. I was on the overrated side, and I just watch this movie every time. I think I've seen it twice, and I did it for video purposes, and I just don't get the hype for this movie. I get the messages in it and all that, talking about film society, film critics and all that, and what we think about the film industry. But I've seen it done in many other movies better. And I think Michael Keaton's great. Don't get me wrong. Edward Norton's great. Emma Stone as well. But just the messages in the film didn't hit me as much as other people did, and some of the emotions, the tones. Alejandro Iñárritu, I think he's a great director. I think The Revenant is great. I prefer that over Birdman. I know that's very controversial, but I just didn't love Birdman as much as everyone else did. It's a fine film, incredibly well shot for the one-take gimmick. Just unfortunately, I think 1917 did it better with the one-take gimmick and kind of ruins Birdman in that aspect. But still, Birdman's not an awful movie. I'm not saying it's one of the worst films ever made. But as far as like people saying it's a masterpiece and one of the best films of all time or the decade, I'm not in that ballpark. So yes, that is Colin and I's pick. Are you there, Colin? Are you lagging again?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm lagging, but it's okay. I can hear you.
All right, so that is Colin and I's picks for underrated and overrated movie picks of the week. What are your guys' picks for these underrated and overrated movie picks of the week? We would love to hear what you guys have to say about that. All right, so we got two more topics to talk about right here. And our next topic, Colin, is a top 10 list. And this was a perfect top 10 list to do with what's going on in the world right now. And I got to shout out my buddy Zach Pope because he released this video on his channel most recently. And Colin and I are going to give you our picks for movies that we are watching while we are quarantined. So these are top 10 movies or things we are watching while we are quarantined. So, Colin, you have your top 10 list, right?
Okay, do you want me to go back and forth, or am I just going to list off the whole thing?
We'll start with you. We'll start with you. We'll go back and forth. 10, 10, 9, 9.
Okay, so for me, you're going to see a complete theme on my list. It's a lot of it's classics and 80s movies. I've been on like that kind of feel. I think the newest movie on this list is maybe it came out in like the early 2000s, but most of them are older films. I just been in that mood. So number 10 is actually, I got the poster right over here, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's been a while since I've seen Indiana Jones, so I'm gonna start rewatching it very soon, and that's number 10 for me. I love the movie. Great stuff. I love. I mean, who would have thought Harrison Ford would be playing like such two iconic roles? And you can maybe argue Indiana Jones is more iconic than Han Solo. Don't tell anybody. But no, I love Han Solo. I wouldn't be one of those people to say that, but there are people that would. I like Han Solo probably more, but Indiana Jones is great, and Raiders of the Lost Ark is a great film. As we're going to see here, spoiler alert, you're going to see a lot of Spielberg on this list because he's just got such a large filmography, and we're quarantined, so we've got to watch a lot of it. So that's a number 10.
Awesome. That's a great 10, man. Coming in at my number 10 is a combination of 2019 releases that I've missed, as well as classic movies that I am doing for my channel. That's my number 10. Now, just to go in depth with that, classic movies I'm doing for my channel, I'm actually reviewing a lot of classic films that are approaching anniversaries, like 20th anniversaries. Like the newest video I just dropped was for Final Destination, the first one, since it had its 20th anniversary. I reviewed that already, so you guys, if you're watching, can check that out on my channel. And some other films that are reaching anniversaries are American Psycho, one of my favorite films, and Gladiator as well, another fantastic Ridley Scott film, and as well as movies that I am doing for my channel as well, reviewing them that I haven't seen yet. 2001 A Space Odyssey is one of them. I'm doing that collab with Zach Pope coming up soon. I haven't seen 2001. And Schindler's List as well, since you mentioned Spielberg. I haven't seen Schindler's List. And Spirited Away, the classic anime film, is I have not seen yet. So those are movies that are reaching anniversaries as well as films I'm reviewing that I haven't seen yet. And as well as 2019 movies that I haven't seen yet that are on streaming, like Honey Boy I haven't seen, Loose I haven't seen.
Honey Boy is great. Honey Boy is great.
Yeah, I heard Honey Boy's great. I gotta watch that. So that's my number 10.
If you've got daddy issues, don't watch it.
Well,
that's all I have to say about that one.
Okay. So Colin, what's your number 9?
Okay, number 9. We're quarantined. We're isolated. Sometimes we're by ourselves. Cast Away. Cast Away.
Oh,
all alone. There. Tom Hanks. It's been years since I've seen this film with my movie reviewer knowledge that I got now. Saw it when I was kind of younger, and I maybe rewatched it a little bit. When I was in high school or something like that. So it's been a while since I've seen it. So it's on the list of what I'm going to watch or going to try and watch. This is no guarantee. This is for the viewers as well. Cast Away. That's my pick. Tom Hanks. Maybe his best performance. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that's my pick. Cast Away. Number 9.
Best performance? Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump.
Oh yeah, Forrest Gump's really good. Yeah, Forrest Gump.
So yeah, that's a great pick. Cast Away is a classic Tom Hanks film. My number 9 is going to be all the newest streaming service movies that are part of new releases. I will be watching those and reviewing them. Like recently, I reviewed Below the Man Down, which is on Amazon Prime, and as well as upcoming Netflix movies and Disney Plus original films that come out. So, of course, anything that's coming to streaming services are films that I will be watching and reviewing while quarantined because we can't go to the theaters.
You don't say.
Yeah. So, yeah. Colin, what's your number 8?
Number 8, let me just pull up my list here. It's a movie I saw recently for the very first time, and it's another Spielberg classic, is Jurassic Park. I don't know why it took me so long to finally see this film, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And like I said, I'm kind of in a Spielberg mood these days. So that was my number 8. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I thought the suspense and the reviews on my channel. Just search my name, Colin Williams, with 1 L in Colin. And yeah, then my reviews there. And I think I had a pretty long review too, despite it being like an older film. It's like 12 minutes, so you can get my there. But yeah, so that was my number 8.
Great pick. Jurassic Park's my favorite Spielberg movie. I love that movie. It's pure nostalgia and just gave me everything I loved as a child, which was dinosaurs. So that's a great pick, man. All right, my number 8, and now this starts the trend for my top 10. Now this starts the trend of movie marathons because I will be marathoning a lot of movies that I love and watch every year. Coming in at number 8 is going to be a Lord of the Rings marathon. I think this is definitely something everybody should do once a year is rewatch the Lord of the Rings films. They're some of the greatest films ever made. And I just love the trilogy. I love the characters involved with it, the storytelling by Peter Jackson and his direction, J.R.R. Tolkien's books. Like, this is some of the best films ever made, and they're made to be seen for sure once a year. And hey, we're quarantined right now, so why not go back to the world of Middle-earth and just enjoy these characters once again? So that's my number 8.
All right, so we're at number 7, correct? 7?
Yeah, number 7.
All right, number 7 for me is going to be Jaws. Another Spielberg movie that I saw for the very first time. I was shocked watching it, how well the shark looked. I was shocked by how long into the movie we actually get to see the shark. It's kind of more about like the town and the politics of them, not wanting to say that there's a shark in the water because of The 4th of July is coming up, and that's how they make their money in their town. I was not expecting kind of a political dilemma movie, the perspective of a cop. I was kind of just not. That's not what I was. Had talked about this film with too many other people, so I didn't really know what to expect. Really enjoyed it. Don't love it as much as Jurassic Park, but did really enjoy the film and definitely put Spielberg on the map for sure. And I got to thank that work financially as well. So yeah, that's number 7.
All right, I love Jaws as well. That's probably my second or third favorite Spielberg movie. I'll have to rewatch those, but Jaws is an absolute classic, must watch every year. All right, coming in at number 7 for me is a Harry Potter marathon. I love the Harry Potter franchise. I love watching these films every single year with the family, with some popcorn, and just going back to the magical wizarding world of Hogwarts with these characters that I grew up loving watching. Harry, Ron, Hermione, the boy who lived, wizards, you got dragons, monster creatures, you have different houses. It's just a fantastic world to revisit. If you grew up loving the books from J.K. Rowling, you love watching the Harry Potter movies every single year, they're a must. And while quarantined, it's a perfect franchise to revisit.
Yeah, it's something I want to revisit as well because I've only seen like each film probably like once or twice, and it was funny. Like, I didn't read the books or I didn't watch them when they came out. But when Universal Studio went to like Harry Potter World, I was like, this is so cool. So I watched all the movies. And I read like 3 of the books. I didn't have time to read any of the rest. But yeah, definitely a good pick there. And then from keep up with the 80s trend that you'll see, especially later on in this list, is Risky Business with Tom Cruise.
Is that your number 6?
We all know the shot of him. Yeah, number 6.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, Risky Business. So a movie I think I watched when I was like pretty young, honestly. Like I'm not sure I should be watching maybe about like him having like a prostitution ring or so whatever the plot. I watched it kind of young, so maybe we stopped watching it because they realized it was inappropriate. My parents did, so I don't know if I've ever watched this movie. And if I'm saying that like I don't remember a whole lot about it, then I kind of haven't really seen it. So I've got it on my list to definitely check out while I'm quarantined.
Awesome. Great classic Tom Cruise film, Risky Business. Nice. All right. Coming in at my number 6 is a How to Train Your Dragon marathon. The How to Train Your Dragon trilogy are some of my favorite animated films from the last decade. I think it's a great trilogy with great storytelling and great characters. Hiccup and Toothless. The arc that those two have had together since the first How to Train Your Dragon movie from 2010 until now, 2019. Like, it's a fantastic trilogy with excellent storytelling, and it's a fun movie. Fun movies all around, with great for kids, great for families and older people, and it's just something I like to watch every single year. So that's my number 6.
Because mine's like the single films and yours is the marathon. So we got some variety. So number 5, I got Fast Times of Ridgemont High. I think a really underrated film as well. I mean, we talk about Breakfast Club or 16 Candles, like those John Hughes movies and stuff. To me, Fast Times of Ridgemont High is probably the best of the bunch, but no one talks about it. So many funny moments. Macaulay, played by Sean Penn, is hilarious. Just kind of reminds me of just wanting to, not reminds me, it kind of just wants me to go back to the 80s and the place when I could live one day. Really funny movie, and brought us some really great actors as well. So that's my number 5.
All right, classic comedy right there at number 5. My number 5 is a DCEU movie marathon with Wonder Woman 1984. When is it coming out? We have no idea. We just got to watch these movies, in preparation for a ranking, as well as just revisit some of these movies. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Shazam, Aquaman. Just some movies I do enjoy, and not movies I do not enjoy much, but Birds of Prey as well, just to revisit these movies. And just as a comic book movie fan, it's definitely fun to watch some of these movies again every single year. And just prepare myself for Wonder Woman 84. So that's my number 5.
Yeah, I recently watched some DCE movies. I forgot how much I love Man of Steel.
Oh,
So I need to
yes.
watch Wonder Woman again, coming up from 1984. So I'm excited. If there's something I'll probably have to watch maybe later down the road. Number 4, 80s movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I rewatched it yesterday. Love the movie. I mean, is there a more charming film than Ferris Bueller's Day Off? I don't think there is. The answer is no. I'm telling you right now on the podcast. There's no more charming of a film. Well, there might be another one on this list that's more charming, but it's up there with one of the best films, charm wise, and just a fun like adventure teen movie. The twist and shout singing film is like just if you don't smile, you're just an evil, horrible person. Love this movie, and yes, before he was breaking the fourth, before it was cool. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Deadpool. Awesome movie, and it comes in at number 4.
All right, so my number 4 is a perfect trilogy to watch with the times going on right now. That is the Planet of the Apes trilogy marathon. You got Rise, Dawn, and War for the Planet of the Apes. Dude, I don't know about you, but I'm a big Apes fan. I love this trilogy. I love Andy Serkis as Caesar. I love this trilogy. The apes on horses strong, just that hashtag alone. And especially with what's going on right now, I think these movies are fantastic. Great post-apocalyptic movies. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. What a big surprise that movie was in 2011. And then Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which is one of the greatest sequels and one of my favorite films of the last decade. And War for the Planet of the Apes, just an amazing conclusion to that trilogy. Just these movies are epic, they're action-packed, they're incredibly well acted, visuals are top-notch, and a perfect trilogy to watch while quarantined. So, apes on horses.
Yeah, soon we're gonna find out that those movies are actually documentaries and not feature films because that's gonna happen with what's going on in the world today. I really enjoy the first two. I really enjoy the first two. The third one was a little disappointing, despite like everything about it was made like perfectly. Honestly, I just think it was one of the most deceptive marketing campaigns I think I've ever seen. There was no war in the film.
So
Spoiler alert!
Right, that marketing campaign.
That marketing campaign was actually like kind of evil. I kind of resent them for doing that. But if you take it at face value, it's still a very well-made film. And I haven't watched it since I saw it in the theater, so I can see Ryan's disagreeing with me here. So we'll just have to agree to disagree.
Yeah. All right.
So my number, where are we at? Number 3, right? We're at number 3.
Yeah.
Number 3 is a movie. Yeah. So number 3 was a movie I saw yesterday. I saw 3 movies yesterday. Just binging, 3. We started at like 6 o'clock. We just went through them all. Number Election. If you look at it as a sequel to Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because of course it stars I'm like blanking on his name. Who's the guy that's Ferris Bueller? I can't even.
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, Matt. I was like saying Brosniak for some reason, but yeah, Matthew Broderick. Yeah, so he's obviously the teacher in Election. It's starring Reese Witherspoon. That one dude that's in American Pie, I forget his name. He's got like his leg broken. Anyway, literally, I watched it as an adult now for the first time. I'd seen it before, but as like an adult now, and being a teacher, so have a teacher's perspective. Really funny, and I close to like a perfect movie as you can get. It's for what it's doing for its genre. I don't know if you've seen it, Ryan, but you need to check it out. Election. It's about like a couple kids just running for president in school, and it's a lot of perspective, and it's kind of facilitating the whole thing, and it's just hilarious and so witty. There's so many visual comedic moments, just like dialogue, but so witty and kind of over the top in certain points, and it's just hilarious film. Ends with just, I love when comedies just end with a gut-busting laugh and then fades to black. This movie has that moment. Just great film, and maybe one of my favorite movies of all time after watching yesterday. Completely one of the most perfect comedies I think I've ever seen.
Awesome. I have not seen that movie, but your recommendation has inspired me.
Go for
So
it.
my number three is a James Bond marathon, which I think a lot of us are doing in preparation for No Time to Die, which has been moved up to November. So before Daniel Craig, I have not seen any of the Bond movies. I've only seen the Daniel Craig Bond movies. That's it. So, and I have watched up to for Sean Connery, I've only watched up to Thunderball, and then the news dropped. No Time to Die was going to November. I'm like, oh dang it! But so I have seen the first 4 or 5 Sean Connery Bonds: Doctor No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball. So wait, I've only seen 4 of the Sean Connery Bond movies, and I'll give you my thoughts when that comes out. But so I've only seen the Daniel Craig Bond movies and the first 4 Sean Connery Bond movies. So I think it's a perfect time to watch all of the Bond movies in release order leading up to No Time to Die. Like it's perfect time. And while we're quarantined, we definitely have enough time to watch all those movies. So that's my number 3.
Yeah, we certainly do. I know there's some good and bad Bond movies, and I'm telling you, I've only seen one Bond film, and it was to lead up to No Time to Die. So I was going to watch all the Daniel Craig films. I got the Blu-ray set of all his 4 films thus far, and I watched Casino Royale, which everyone says is like the best James Bond movie, and I was like, what? Like I don't know what people saw in that movie, because I was like, maybe I'm a little concerned if maybe this franchise isn't for me, because if that's the best movie in the franchise, I'm not sure if I mean, it was okay. I liked it all right, but it felt like it had like 8 endings, and like I was just like, what am I what? It was fine. It was a cool like action movie. So I'm hoping that I don't know. Maybe that'll be my overrated pick for next week or something. But I just completely was like, if this is the best in the franchise, I'm not sure if this is a franchise for. Doesn't stop me from giving that film a chance. Absolutely not. Yeah, there's certain movies that people say the best in the franchise, and I'm like, what? You know. So this could, maybe I was tired that day. I don't know. Maybe I need to rewatch it. So that's my my take on that. As far as my number 2, another 80s movie, another classic film, and it was the first movie my girlfriend and I ever watched together, Back to the Future.
Yes!
Back to the Future. I love that movie. Greatest movies of all time. Yeah. Love Back to the Future is one of the best films of all time. Just such a great cast, such a good premise, fun and whimsical, and we see Ryan bringing his Blu-ray out now. So, yeah. Love the movie, and it's at my number 2 spot.
Yes, Back to the Future. 1.21 gigawatts. That's a great pick. I should have put that on my list. But my number 2, I should have. That's an honorable mention. All right. My number 2. My number 2 is these top 2 right here I do every single year because I love the franchises and the worlds that these studios have built. My number 2 is a Pixar marathon. This is definitely a must. Pixar marathon, Onward just came out, and we have Soul coming out, which is probably going to get delayed. But still, I love Pixar. I grew up with the Pixar movies. The Toy Story movies were what I started off with and grew up with. Just watch all of the Pixar movies like Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., Inside Out, Wall-E, Up. It's always great to revisit these films every single year. Bring me back to when I was a child and makes me feel like a kid again. The stories, they're fun, they're emotional, and with characters that are so memorable. And it's just a great world. And with desperate times like this, while we're quarantined, we need to be happy and feel some emotions. So that's my number 2.
Yeah, Pixar, I mean, you can just pop in any movie anytime, and it's always at least watchable. Even Cars 2. I gave it a D on my tier list on my recent Pixar ranking. But I've seen much worse animated films, so heck, just skip over that one and watch the rest because you'll enjoy pretty much all of them. So yeah, just skip it. Skip it. And it's funny because in Cars 3 they kind of retcon everything that happens in Cars 2 anyway. So anyway, my number 1 though, I watched it yesterday for the very first time. Absolutely loved it. for you people that are couples, or you can just cry throughout the entire film because you're single as a Pringle. When Harry Met Sally, maybe the greatest romantic comedy I've ever seen. My God,
I'll have
another 80s movie on my list. It's kind of funny. We both have like you got like the franchise marathon movies. I'm going like 80s classic type films. So I'm going full on 80s. I'm a 90s kid, but I'm an 80s at heart. And When Harry Met Sally, just such a charming film, so witty, and the dialogue is great. Billy Crystal is just phenomenal in the role. Such an authentic look at a relationship. And the themes throughout, where it's like you can't sleep with someone that you're friends with, or boys and girls, men and women can't be friends, and these two people that just become best friends, and then ultimately having a romantic relationship. Just so patient in its storytelling, so articulate in the way it tells its story, and just overall beautiful, and just a movie that both men and women can enjoy without being like a sappy little chick flick. Just great film, and for that reason, it comes in at number 1. 5 out of 5 stars. I love it.
Woo! 5 out of 5.
Have you seen it?
I think I have seen it. I don't know if I've seen the whole thing, but that's a great pick. I think that movie's really good. All right, so my number 1 is a marathon that I do every single year, regardless. An MCU marathon. If you look at the background behind me, you can tell I'm a fan of the MCU. I love watching the MCU films every single year. With Black Widow coming out and the Eternals, it's something I do every year, just rewatching these movies for rankings or anything like that, and it's just great. Love what Marvel has done with the worlds they've built and the characters. It's always great to start with the first Iron Man movie back in 2008, all the way up till now with, what was the recent one? Oh, God. Spider-Man Far From Home? Is it Spider-Man Far From Home? Yeah, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and then now with Black Widow coming out, and it's just always great to just rewatch these movies. Like, go back to the epicness we felt with Infinity War and Endgame. Like, it's just fantastic. I love these movies. So a lot of them are in my favorite movies for sure. It's just so great. They have different stories. They have solo films, the Avengers movies, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Just great worlds to visit as a comic book movie fan. And that's what Marvel has brought us, and it's just a must-watch marathon every year.
Yeah, I totally agree. Love the MCU. Love what they do. I mean, who doesn't at this point? If they're about to hit their 24th film or something like that. All of them different. People say like, oh, the Marvel formula. I mean, they've got different genres of the mix. So if you're feeling like a spy espionage thriller, you could watch Winter Soldier. If you're feeling kind of like a low-key kind of movie, you can put on Ant-Man. If you want to just like grab a big bucket of popcorn and just like cheer and yell, Infinity War and Endgame. It's so many great films, and what they've done is something I don't think we'll ever see in movies ever.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. So yes, that was my number 1 in MCU marathon. Guys, let us know in the comments section what movies you're going to be watching while quarantine. Are you going to be doing these marathons that I put on my list as well? Or are you going to watch some of those 80s movies that Colin threw at you? Let us know in the comments. We want to know what you guys are going to be watching while quarantine. So anyway, guys, before we close off the show, Colin and I are going to be going into another segment we'll be doing every single podcast, and that is giving you guys our movie quote of the week. This is something fun Colin added into the podcast, and I really enjoyed that. So, Colin, give us your movie quote of the week.
All right, so we've been going, we've been talking about Spielberg. I think we mentioned Tenet at one point. We got our boy James Mangold. We got our, talking about some of our favorite directors and stuff. Obviously, like my list was Spielberg heavy. But a director we didn't mention once, and you just mentioned the MCU, and he loves MCU movies. That's Martin Scorsese, and if you can't tell, I was being sarcastic.
Yes!
That's Martin Scorsese, and his best movie, I got Taxi Driver right there, but I'm not doing that. It's Wolf of Wall Street. No, Joker. It's Wolf of Wall Street. And I think one of the funniest quotes in the entire movie, and especially because we're quarantined and it's kind of ironic, it says, Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street played beautifully by Leonardo DiCaprio, for who some reason didn't win an Oscar. But he said, "I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich." Well, we got a lot of problems here, and wouldn't it be nice to just become rich and deal with all this stuff? And if we are rich, we can actually get testing, because it seems like all the millionaires get tested, but we don't. But I'm not going to get political. So I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich. So you kids out there listening, that's how you deal with your problems, by becoming rich. And that's my movie quote. And if you're a kid, please don't watch this movie because it's very inappropriate.
Yeah. Quoted by Colin and Jordan Belfort. Anyway, so that's Colin's movie quote of the week. My movie quote of the week, and we all love actors that we grew up watching, like Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, but Tom Hanks recently, we know the news with him. I'm glad he's fine. But Tom Hanks might be one of my favorite actors personally. And this quote is a perfect quote because of what's going on in the world right now. You know, people are rioting, looking for toilet paper and hand sanitizer, getting angry about it. Like, guys, there's no crying in baseball. Yeah, that is.
Oh my goodness,
That's my
amazing.
movie quote of the week. If you guys did not see A League of Their Own, you need to see that movie. It's one of the best, my favorite Tom Hanks movies. And there's no crying in baseball. The most iconic quote from that movie. And Tom Hanks said it himself while he was tested positive, that there's no crying in baseball, guys. Let's all be positive. Let's work together. We can all get through this thing. No matter what in life, it's a perfect quote. There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying over spilled milk. So I think that's the perfect quote of the week for me.
Good quote. I like it. It's definitely more optimistic than mine.
Yours is okay.
Straight to business.
Straight business quote. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, that is going to wrap up the first episode, the pilot episode of the Fallen for Film podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening in to this first episode, pilot episode. We want to hear your guys' thoughts overall in the comment section, or if you're watching this on Spotify or iTunes, once we get to that stage, again, just let us know your thoughts. And as always, if you are new to my channel, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that like button and click that subscribe button for more reviews, reactions, rankings, and more movie content. And my special guests as well do the same thing over there. Colin, tell my people where they can find you on social media one more time before we close it off.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram at Colin Williams Reviews on Super. That's probably the best place if you want to hit me up or find out what I'm all about. Colin Williams Reviews at COLIN and Williams Reviews. And then on Twitter, you can find me at Colin Williams MR. Lots of retweeting, lots of movie news type stuff. You can get to delve into my personality a little bit there. And then if you want to see my first initial reaction to any film I ever review or have thoughts on, my letterbox is CWilliams991. I review everything I ever watch on there. And then you can find me on my very own YouTube channel. Just search my name, Colin Williams, COLIN Williams. And I do all sorts of stuff that Ryan does. And you'll be seeing a lot of me on his channel. So I'm really excited for that. Check me out if you want. It could be kind of cool.
Yes, guys, Colin's social media links are in the description below for you guys to go check out his channel, and please do, because he's one of my favorite reviewers on the platform, does what I do as well, and we love talking movies. And Colin, I thank you for joining me as my co-host for this podcast, and we are super excited to start up this podcast. As far as the next episode, we don't know that yet. We will... Once the next episode comes out and more movie news, you can expect at least 2 podcast episodes a month. And another thing we forgot to bring up is that another segment we're bringing on to our channel is fan-submitted questions. So every single time we shoot a podcast episode, we'll be going to social media, our YouTube community pages. We'll be asking you guys, the fans, if you have any questions you want to ask us, submit your questions on both of our channels, community pages and social medias, and we may feature your question in an upcoming podcast episode. So if you want to submit questions, please send it over our way. And yes, guys, that'll conclude the pilot episode. Thank you guys so much for listening in on YouTube and whatever streaming service platform, not that, podcast platform we have here. And guys, we will see you in the next episode. Take care.